Proverbs 17:17 says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." True friendship involves being there for each other, especially during times of grief and adversity. The Bible emphasizes the importance of compassion, empathy, and support of those experiencing grief, encouraging believers to come alongside them and share their burdens and offer comfort and encouragement. Losing a loved one, a son, a husband, a father, a mother, a brother, can be difficult, and the grief process can take a year or longer. It's common to feel alone and incomplete, and the world may seem different. You may also experience a change in identity. Things don't seem like they will be the same. Romans 12:15 says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep." This verse emphasizes the importance of empathizing with others in their time of sorrows. So I'm asking you to join me as I speak with a dear friend who thought it not robbery to share her testimony about her first year of embracing change. Her husband gained his wings a year ago, and I've been supportive of her in whatever way she's needed during this first year and would continue to do so because she's a dear friend. Realizing the difficult road she's journeying, I asked her to come onto my patio and she agreed to share her testimony with me in order to help others. She'll be joining me to go through her navigation of grief and sharing her reflections. So I invite you to please join me, bring a friend, tell a
Anyway,
friend. Don't forget, Thomas wound up having a foot injury.
yeah. And the foot injury is, I believe in my heart, is what really was the straw that broke the camel's back. It had gotten infected. I had the visiting nurse coming to visit, to take care of it and clean it.
But back up, because you don't just get a foot injury and you just go downhill. So how
You
long?
do if it's infected.
So how did it get infected? Because I know you, mother hen.
That exactly. Thomas, he got that. Remember, I told you he wanted to wear some. He wants to wear some Jordans. That little bitty spot, and diabetics don't heal
Mhm.
the way I heal. You don't
Mhm.
heal the same way I do.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Thomas wasn't healing. It was a small. It started off like a dime, a small little area that wind up when he would get in the bed, pushing himself up in the bed. It was rubbing. It became a nickel size. I said, Thomas, you need to stop this. I got him some foot pads to go over it to keep it from rubbing or whatever. They had the medication on it. Me, I'm just getting what I think will help it out. And he was like, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. But then I noticed that his he would when he would get out the bed, he would just drop his foot on the floor. I was like, why you drop your feet like that? That's not normal. Or what is it? Too heavy? What's going on? What is going on? Don't you feel that? You know, just boom. I said, Thomas, don't do that.
And he didn't feel it.
No, he would not flinch. Not at all. I said, Thomas, don't do that. So I had to find I found a store to where I had to get him a shoe horn to be able to get his shoe on his foot. And so we were getting the shoe on his foot or whatever. And I looked at his foot socks one day and I said, what's that leaking through your sock? And I pulled the sock off and I said, you injured your foot when you did that. I say, it's bleeding now.
So when the foot fell,
It broke the skin,
thank God,
you know.
because you wouldn't have never known
I,
something was going on
mm-mm.
unless it was busted open.
And it busted open. And I got him in the shower. You know, I didn't tell. I don't say a lot of stuff, but I would have to literally get him in the shower. I had got him a shower bench to sit in the shower, where I would get down and I would have to scrub his feet and check it out. And I got the shower head to where I can rinse off his foot so I can look at it. Um, thought I was doing better. Thought I was doing good, but not. because
What you
when you
mean?
have a foot injury like that, your foot shouldn't be immersed in water, and it needs to dry out. And I was keeping it moist, trying to heal it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Doing what a mama do. You know what you do
Mhm.
for chicken pox and all this other kind of
Mhm.
stuff I was doing. And I was
So how long was that going on?
that went on. I, what happened was I complained to his primary care doctor, and I told the visiting nurse need to come out and check his foot out. I said, we haven't been able to get to a podiatrist. We don't know where one that accepts his insurance. I said, I haven't had time to find one. So his doctor got a visiting nurse to come out. And the visiting nurse came out that lives in this area, in our area. And she looked at his foot and she said, well, how long has his foot been like this? I said, it's been like that for the last about 3 months or whatever. I said, it started off as a dime, a really small sore. I said, but between him getting in the bed and rubbing it and rubbed, and I said it broke open when it hit. And she said, this looks infected. She said, but I'm glad I'm here. I'm gonna work with it. And she said, I'm gonna order up some stuff. And she got on the phone. Black little lady, sweet. And she started ordering up some stuff. And she said, his stuff's supposed to come Thursday. I'll be here Friday to put it on. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, that's who told me it shouldn't have been moist. She says, do not immerse this in water. I know he needs to take a shower, wrap it up with plastic, put one of them Ziplocs on his bed and wrap it up. Keep water from away from it. We need to dry this out. And I said, okay. When she came back that Friday and she looked at it and she said it is infected. So she got on the phone, she called the doctor, they put him on some antibiotics, whole 9 yards. Uh, we went like that for like 3 weeks. And she found me a doctor over here at Christian. And I took him over there to Christian. And the doctor looked at it and said it is really infected. It's infected with gangrene because it's below this.
So that's when he had to go into the hospital.
He didn't go in immediately, but that's what caused him to, we went through that for months before he had to go into the
Okay,
hospital.
let's back up. So you and Thomas got married in 20,
20.
2020. 2021, he got sick because of A1C, his
Started
diabetes, and having to
dialysis.
go to dialysis. And then because he wants to stay cool, wearing the shoes and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
hurt his foot.
Mm-hmm.
That was
20 end of
2022.
2022, early 22. I'm gonna
Okay.
say it was around February or March of 2022.
Okay. And so then now we speed up to, and I'm just trying to get the audience caught up because we had the technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now we're to where he drops his foot out the bed, not realizing
He's damaging it.
you don't broke this skin down
Mm-hmm.
up under, deep.
Yeah,
Wearing
and
the
I still got pictures of that too. That came up on in my memory too,
really
showing. I was like,
the
oh,
foot.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Hmm.
I would take pictures to send to him, because I'm not I'm not medically
Right, right,
educated. I mean,
right.
I'm book medically educated, but I don't know.
Girl, listen, we do what we know to do. When Dwayne, I told you Dwayne had his foot surgeries, right? Two foot was 6 months apart. First 6 months, and then 6 months later, he had to have another. So he had to have a bunion removed.
Hmm.
And when you go through surgery, your foot is swollen. Well, then when it started going down, you got all this dead skin and stuff. I didn't know what to do with that. Girl, I took my Mary Kay products
Hmm.
and used the scrub on his foot with the little brush or whatever,
Hmm.
and I soaked his foot in a tub and put the slough and stuff on there and
Hmm.
scrubbed all that dead skin off. When he went back to the pedicure, the podiatrist, and she said, your foot feels so soft and looks so good. She said, what is, he said, my wife is using her Mary Kay. And I wasn't using the foot stuff, the pamper feet. I was using my facial stuff. I didn't know what to
Right,
do.
right,
You know,
right,
how am I supposed to get this dead skin off and get his
right,
foot to look back normal? Because it was dark,
right,
you know,
right,
looking bad. But
right.
it wasn't infected or anything like your husband's, but still, I
Yeah, it
mean,
was. Anytime it's gangrene, they was concerned about it getting to his bone.
right. That term right there is why I stopped being wanting to be a nurse. I used to want to be a nurse. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to be a nurse.
Mm.
I saw a bed sore that had gangrene, and I said, I can't do this. And
Oh.
everybody that's nurses say, oh, it's more than that. Yeah, but that's the one thing that I will not be able to do. I would not be able to perform my duties because I'd be like, no, I
Right.
cannot do it. So I am looking at you like, maybe I would if it was Dwayne, but I'm telling you, girl, I can't even clean up my own kids'
Listen,
vomits.
listen.
Okay,
What?
he has to. I don't do that. Diarrhea, Araya, y'all know that's my girl, right?
Uh-huh.
Pop off. I can't do that.
Really?
Yeah, I can't do that. But I don't do body fluids.
Mm.
Mm-mm. I can't
When I
because I'm
was
gonna do it
in the
too.
moment, I said, I see why my sister is in a specialty and why she does cardiology stuff because I couldn't do this daily. But I did it because he was my husband and I needed to take care of his foot.
Right, and and I'm putting it out there. Maybe if I had to do it,
You know,
then I would have to. But because I have an option,
Thomas.
I'm gonna choose that option.
Exactly. And when they gave him the antibiotics, they gave him them strong antibiotics and they got all the gangrene cleaned out or whatever. It started to heal and look a
Okay.
lot better. And it didn't get to the bone, but missing dialysis, that's just something else you got to deal with. He had to go.
So what you mean missing dialysis? What you
When you
mean?
when you don't go to dialysis and get your
So
filter,
why he not going
he didn't because they was dealing with the foot.
in the hospital?
Yes.
So he couldn't continue dialysis in the hospital. They
Well,
had to stop it.
they let's just say they didn't stop it. There were certain times, my heart goes out to patients that's on dialysis because you're putting your life in these people's hands. And
Mm,
when they push you off and you're retaining fluid, they don't do nothing for your body. It makes your body more toxicity. You know what I'm saying? Build up. So they got them on. They start putting them on the 24-hour dialysis, meaning they would put him on for 23 hours and be off an hour and put him back on.
okay.
Do you know how rough that was on his body when he was at Barnes when he did that? And me being me, I'm like, how 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 can y'all continue this? How can he continue like this? And I told him, I said, something got to give. I said, you
Right.
can't keep taking his bodies to these extremes. He's a big guy, yes. He's a strong guy, yes. But his body can't take all of this. I said, we're trying to get his foot to heal. Y'all letting toxicity build up in his body ain't finna help this foot to heal. He needs clean fluids going through his body.
Mm-hmm.
They got him to a level, and they was like, Miss Blake said, you guys got to get him off that 24 hours. Y'all got to get him for them certain hours and get his foot back to healing. Um,
So that's why you say you think it's the foot. The foot is what
mhm,
just
yeah. And Thomas, when they first brought it up to
because doing
him,
it like that,
yeah,
you don't have any rest. You don't have any rest.
exactly,
Just 1 hour, and that hour is you pretty much sleeping because
exactly.
you're
You're
drained.
drained, and then
Wow.
they
And
come back.
who agrees to that? I mean, I don't understand.
It's in their protocol that they do at Bowen's Hospital. They do it. At a lot of hospitals, it's the extreme, depending on the provider. So
Watch your mic. Messing with
Thomas,
it.
yeah, Thomas told them, he said, I want to do everything I can to save this foot. I came in this world with it. I want to leave with it. That hurt me to hear him say that. Because
Because if this is what's going to take you out,
yeah.
right?
And I said, I got to talk to him. And his brother was a big help in me talking to him. And I said, Marvin, I said, this foot is infected. It's not healing. It keeps getting reinfected, even in the hospital. I said, if we cut off the source of infection, we can focus on dialysis and we can start to heal and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And Marvin was like, he said, I can't, I understand my brother when he say he want to leave with both his feet. I said, but Marvin, you're not hearing me. And I talked to Bird. I said, it's infected. The infection is going through his body. It's keeping him drained. He's on dialysis. So Marvin talked to him, and I talked to him. I said, babe, I'm behind you, whatever you decide. I love you, and I would never give you a guilt trip in doing something that I want you to do versus what you want to do. But this is a decision we got to make together. The foot being infected is keeping you down, keeping you sick, and having you to be on this dialysis like that. You cannot get no rest. You can't heal. You need to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay. So when he decided when I said, I'm finna go home so I can get some rest. I got to go to work in the morning.
This
And
not the rain day.
no.
Okay.
So I said, I got to go to work in the morning and I will call you later. He called me when I got to the house. I called him, let him know I made it in the house safely, and we talked. And he said, I'm gonna talk to Dr. Felder in the morning. I said, okay. So Dr. Felder called me, and I was like, why is he calling me? He kept calling me, and so I said, I called him back. I said, Dr. Felder, I said, I'm right now in a meeting right now. Can I call you back? He was like, he said, yes, please call me back as soon as you can. I said, is anything wrong? What's going on? He said, I just need to talk to you about your husband and surgery. And I was like, surgery? He said, yes. I said, okay, I'll call you back. And I got off the phone with him. I got off from work. I went home. I called Dr. Felder. I said, yes, Dr. Felder. I talked to his assistant. He said, well, Mr. Blake has come to us and he's told us that he's in agreements to go ahead and take the foot. He said, we did our best. We gave it our best shot to save it. He was a perfect candidate for it. But it's not healing. His diabetes and his being on dialysis, he's not healing.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can get that gone, we can work on everything else. And he said there are many people walking around with prosthetics, and in Thomas's mind, this is what was funny to me. He said, your husband said he did not want no wooden leg. She said, your husband expressed to me that he did not want no wooden leg with no black shoe on. And I looked at him and I looked at the phone and I looked around. I said, what makes him think that it was going to be a wooden leg with a black shoe? I know prosthetics has come a long way in time. I know I got family members that got prosthetics. But in his mind, it was going to be a wooden leg. And he was like, so he said, I got that covered because he said, I thought it was the funniest thing. I'm glad you laughing. He said, because I laughed on the inside when he said it to me because I couldn't laugh at my patient.
Right.
He said, but I have colleagues that have prosthetics, and I have a couple of them that I've asked if they would go by and pass by, talk to them, let them know that I asked them to come by, and if they wouldn't mind showing their prosthetics to them. I said, okay, girl. The first doctor that came in and showed Thomas his prosthetic leg, Thomas was so excited he was ready to have surgery that day.
Okay.
Because he was like, well, that's a doctor, so he got the top of the line. You know what I'm saying? So Thomas was like, did you know that man? He came in here. He said, he walked in here. I looked at him and he didn't even look like he had no prosthetic. But when he sat down and he told me who he was, and Dr. Felder asked him to come in and talk to me, and he pulled that leg off. I was looking like, and he stood up with the leg in his hand.
Yeah.
He was like, man, if I can do that, oh, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Home healthcare business gonna be fine. We gonna go. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk up out of here. Girl, it made me feel so bad. It gave him a sense of hope,
Mm-hmm.
that we can get past this, because he got
Mm-hmm.
into the point to where he felt like just going through the motions,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he would not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Yeah, we when I get out the hospital, we going on our trip. We're going on our trip."
So how fast did he have the surgery?
Less than 3 days, he had the surgery.
So he had the
He
surgery.
had the
And
surgery.
how far did they have to cut off?
They cut it up to his shin. He still had a knee.
Okay.
He still had his knee,
Mm-hmm.
but they cut it up to the shin. And
And
where
they
they,
had to
yeah,
do it there?
they cut, yeah, they that's how far they have to cut it up,
Okay.
because the shin is connected to the foot or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but the knee, you don't have to cut the knee off or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So let me tell you something. Once they cut that foot off all the way up to that, Thomas was healing so fast. I was amazed,
Wow.
because once they cut it off, the infection was gone,
Mm-hmm.
and he was able to heal. Dr. Felser told me, he says, "I've never known a diabetic to heal this fast."
So
The
the problem was
incision,
the infection.
the problem was the infection. The incision healed. I would rub it. He would have phantom pains, what was called
Mm-hmm.
phantom pains,
Mm-hmm.
and I would rub it or whatever. But it was healed. It was no oozing. The stitching they
So
came
his
into,
A1C had came down and all of that from being in the hospital and
and it was down.
pick and
He was
heal
in the hospital 2 months
after the amputee.
after the amputee, and they said he would need to go through rehab. He didn't pass away at the hospital. He passed away at the St. Louis Rehab Rehabilitation Center. That's where he passed away at.
Where's that?
That's on Duncan, right behind the hospital.
Behind Christian.
No, behind Big Barnes.
Oh, okay.
It's all connected,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of people. It's world renowned. It's one out in West
So did
County.
anything go wrong at the rehab?
Um, I'm gonna tell you what they say Thomas passed from. They said Thomas passed away with from a breathing issue, saying that his ostro, it's where his vessels and veins are breathing. His veins and arteries just started to calcify, meaning that he wasn't getting any fluids
Is
through,
that from the dialysis?
and it's from neuropathy. When you have neuropathy, your veins and your arteries or whatever, they become hard, and you can't, like, I don't know. Are you hard to get blood from when you go give blood at the dialysis? I mean, at the
I have nothing wrong with me other than I'm a diabetic because I
okay,
inherited. It's not because of my weight. It's not because of how I eat. It's not because of anything.
okay,
It's truly inheritance. So I have no problems giving blood. I have no problems healing. I
okay,
have none of that
okay,
now.
okay. Thomas had problems healing, but he also had problems with his veins and his arteries calcifying. That's what IVs, when they was trying to give him fluids, or when they would try to give him medicine through IVs,
It wouldn't
it
go.
wouldn't go through. And they wanted to put him on a CPAP, and we had the CPAP at the house. And, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I don't
It's
know.
I don't you just keep hitting it, so I just don't want it to cut off anything that you're saying. You all
Okay,
right?
we and I took him to CPAP up there to the, and he was like, "I can't breathe. I gotta sit." He also would have anxieties where
And
um
that can affect your breathing because you panicking.
and yeah, and that's what he
Mm-hmm.
succumbed to. No one coming to his assistance, because he could not move on his own. He hadn't gotten to the point to where he can get up on his arm with the missing limb to sit up. Because see, he would have those anxieties at home with the CPAP, and he would take that mask off. And I said, I know you taking it off for just a moment. I said, but Thomas, you stop breathing in the middle of the night. And I said, I don't want to wake up and you not breathing next to me. I just really don't. I really think this is supposed to help you. This is supposed to, you don't know how it made me feel like I'm suffocating. I can't. I said, calm down. This ain't no argument for me and you. You know your body better than I know your body. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. And I would touch him and say, you got your mask on," and he would eventually put it back on, and then he'd half put it on, put one ear on, and he'd have it halfway on. And I said, well, at least something is better than
Like
nothing.
claustrophobia or
Yeah,
something.
and I was like, and he was like, I'm gotta die of something. I'm gotta die of something. I said, but you ain't gotta die on my watch. You ain't got that. It ain't gotta be this way, babe. I said, but this is not an argument for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I say, we're trying to take care of each other. You ask me if I took my medicine. I'm asking you if you took your medicine. If you're
Mm-hmm.
doing what you're supposed to do, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay. So,
So the night that he passed,
mm,
I know you was there.
the
Anyway.
day before Thomas passed was Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm. The day
And
before he passed
it was a Sunday,
was Mother's
was
Day.
a Sunday, and it was Mother's Day. Last year's Mother's Day was on Sunday.
So he passed on Sunday? No,
He
he passed
passed.
on a Monday.
He passed at 1 o'clock that morning.
Okay. Okay. So the day before was Mother's Day. Okay.
I had spent my time with the girls. I had cooked. I had took him a meal, some, cabbage. No, I think it was, I don't know what it was, but I took him a meal, and I
I'm gonna light that central Nella
went up
candle
there
for
to
you.
the hospital, and I was visiting with him. It was supposed to storm like it is now. All these
Mm.
little storms coming up or whatever, and I had been up there for about an hour already, and it kept and the basketball games on. That was our pastime. We love watching the basketball. Like I'm missing my Boston right now, but anyway, but anyway, um, we were watching the basketball game, and the little alert came across the television. He said, "Babe, you don't have to stay up here if you don't want to." I said, "What are you saying? What are you talking about?" He said, "I don't want you out here in this storm because I know how you are about rain." I said, "I know. I'll go." I said, "If it start raining, I'll just stay till it stop." Just like that. And so we was watching the basketball game, and they played them back to back games or whatever. First game went off. And we sitting up there and he eating and I say, "You got enough?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You didn't eat very much." He said, "I just don't have no taste for it." I said, "Okay." He had dialysis that morning. I said, "Okay." So I asked him, I said, "You want me to wash you up?" He said, "I already been washed up today." I said, "Okay." Just like that. So I'm sitting there and we sitting there and we watching the TV. We watching TV to watch the next game come on, this, that, and the other. It start lightning. He said, "Babe, I want you to go ahead and go home. Call me. Make sure you're in the house. Call me. Let me know when you get to the house. And I'll see you tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You sure?" I said, "I ain't been here that long." He said, "It's okay." He said, "I saw you. I know today was Mother's Day. You spent it with the girls. I love you." I said, "I love you too." I said, "What do you, what?" He said, "I'm finna just go to sleep." And I say, "You tired from your dialysis, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go to sleep. It don't make no sense for you to be watching me sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna have to go in a couple of hours anyway, and I'm gonna be asleep."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay." And I wasn't gonna go, but I went ahead and went. And when I got outside, it started raining. I was like, let me just go ahead and go. And I drove home. It took me longer than I normally do to get home because I was driving down Kings Highway. I wasn't taking no highway or none of that. I drove out the streets all the way back home. It took me about a good 40 minutes to get home because the rain was coming down. And when I got to the house, I called him. He said, "You just not getting there?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I took the streets all the way out. He said, okay. He said, I'm glad you in the house. I said, yeah, I'm in the house. And Bird said, yeah, she in the house. She called me to open up the door. I was like, yeah. So he said, okay, good. I'm glad you. And so I said, here, talk to him for a second. He was like, hey, man, how you doing? He started talking to him. I hung up my coat, hung my keys up, this, that, and the other. I got the phone back. Bird went in his room. I said, what's going? I said, I'm finna turn the game on. He said, they ain't doing no good. I said, okay. I said, so you got your night meds yet? He said, I'm finna get the nurse to come in. I'm gonna push the light on in a minute. I said, make sure you put your CPAP on tonight. And he said, okay. And so you know how you go silent and don't say nothing because we watching TV, he watching the game, I'm watching the game. And he said, okay, babe, well, I'm finna go ahead and let you go. I said, okay. And that's all I remember. I don't remember watching the game, rest of the game, or nothing. The next thing I know is I was getting woke up by Bird saying, Noreen, the hospital calling you. They called Marvin because they couldn't get you to answer your phone. And I looked at my phone and I said, my phone ain't rang. And it hadn't. My phone hadn't rang. And I called, and it was charging. It was on the charger. And so Marvin was like, Marvin said they need her to get up there. They getting her there because they said that he was unresponsive. I said, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. And when I told Bird Marvin, my phone started ringing. And it was the nurse on the phone. She said, Mrs. Blake. I said, yes. And I said, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. She said, we just had to rush your husband to the hospital. He's over at Barnes, this, that, and the other. I was like, okay. She said, I called you earlier. I said, my phone didn't ring. I said, but I'm on my way. I'm on my way. And I said, what happened? What happened? And she was like, the nurse went in to give him his meds and he was unresponsive. Unresponsive. She said, yeah, he was unresponsive.
So that was last night?
It was 1 o'clock. They pronounced him at 1:05. So I don't know how long it took them to get him from Duncan over there to the emergency room. I will say that the doctor came out. I got dressed. Bird had put him some clothes on. And I said, Marvin, is Marvin dressed? I said, I picked Marvin up and drove. I said, because I'm finna go out the highway. I'm not driving out the streets. It stopped raining and everything. I'm finna get over there as quickly as I can. And that's the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Picked Marvin up, got on the highway, and we got there. And we was in the emergency room. And the nurse came out and she said, well, I want to take you back to the quiet room. I already know what happens when you're taking them to the quiet room.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't want to go to a quiet room. What's going on? Where's my husband? What's going on? And she said, well, we got to let me come on back here and let me explain something to you. Before we even got into the room, she turned around and looked at me and she said, it seems that you already know because you don't want to go in the quiet room. She said, but the doctors were still working with your husband and they will come out and talk with you in shortly. So I said, this not good. This not good. Marvin's like, let's just see. Let's just see. Bird was like, no, no, no. And I said, this not good. So when the doctor came in and he said, Miss Blake, I'm so sorry for your loss. He says, we worked on your husband for almost an hour to get him back. He didn't have any more fight.
So what time was it that you got to the hospital?
It was, well, I don't even remember looking at the they pronounced him at 1:05, so it had to be.
Was it daylight when you got
No,
there?
no, no. It was still night. It was still
Okay.
night because
Okay.
it was still night. It was early in the morning. It was like 2 because I think we decided to leave the hospital around 4 when they cleaned the body up, cleaned them up from when they were working on them and let us come
Mm-hmm.
in and see him. And Marvin went and seen him first, and I was like, Bird was like, "You want me to go with you?" I was like, "No, I need to do it by myself." And I went, and it just looked like he was sleeping. He was laying up there sleeping, and I just he was cold, but he just looked like he was sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it reminded me of when my grandmother passed. You know, she had been in the hospital for so long. She had had a stroke, and she had gotten so swollen. And when um, she passed away, and we went in to see her, she just looked like she was sleeping and just swole. You know, you imagine a little bitty lady that's a size 10, and she swelled up to about a size 18 now.
Mm-hmm.
She had so much fluid in her, and they was trying to
Mm-hmm.
bring her back, and she just looked like she was sleeping. Same thing with my mom.
So you had Mother's Day with him.
Yes.
So your next holiday will be Father's Day.
Which
How was that?
Father's Day was somber. I mean,
So the years that you had with him, how was Father's Day compared to him being gone? What was the difference?
I
Other
was,
than
I,
outside of being gone.
well, his Father's Day, well, his relationship with his kids were strained.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they was cool, they was talking. Sometimes they weren't. Um, so I and Savannah and Dominique and Crystal, they would make it special for him. You know,
So
um,
how were they?
they were a little somber, and Crystal was concerned about Savannah,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, it was just the absence of him
Mm-hmm.
not being there, not being around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we Savannah, uh right now when she comes, she sees this chair and she says, "It's Pawpaw chair." I'm like, "Yeah, that's Pawpaw chair." She's never asked where Pawpaw is.
Really?
She hasn't asked where Pawpaw is. Um, she sees his picture and she goes, "That's Pawpaw. He got a red hat on. He has a red face." And she's like, "Yeah." But she was like, and then if she wants a snack, this man has marked my grandchild. She can have any snack she want when she come here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what's in there. She can have it. Papa say I can have a snack when I come
You
here.
know who Blake reminds me of?
Mm-mm.
Hollywood.
Really?
Yes. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
From Queen Sugar.
Yes.
Vi. You Vi. You ain't Vi.
I am.
Uh-huh. Yes. And he's Hollywood.
Mm-mm.
Because every time you're sitting here describing him and saying things, and I have Hollywood's voice in my head.
Mm-hmm. And it's some of the things he would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Girl.
Even when I saw his obituary online today, one of your memories, and I'll say, if this is not Hollywood,
My
and
God, him
just
Hollywood.
how his voice is, you never watched Queen Sugar.
I watched it once, but I know who you refer to.
Go back and watch him again.
Mm,
Might make you feel better.
mm,
You know how they always say we have a twin or a lookalike or something. That's him.
really?
That is him.
Mm.
Yes, that's him.
Now you the second person that said that. Chris.
Cause Aunt Vi was older than Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
but your Hollywood's older than you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the type of man that he was and how you say in his mind, I'm gonna give this sounds like Hollywood.
Yeah. It's mine. Girl, I told him when I was in school going to SLU and I had to take algebra classes, I said, I got to find me a tutor. I could not have. You know how you used to explain to me about Stephen and his work, his problems, and it's all alphabets and stuff like that. And you
Girl,
like, and
how
he
you
figured
adding AB plus ED
exactly
and that's equaling something?
him. I looked at that algebra and I told Thomas is the smartest man I knew.
But to look
Double
at him, nobody would know that. That's how Hollywood was.
double masters and just I just look at him and say, you know what? A mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I said, your mama knew what she was doing when she kept you in Catholic school and took you out of took you out of them schools and all the other stuff, keep you out of trouble. Because you are a mastermind at doing wrong, you know.
So, okay, so we have Father's Day, and that
Hmm.
really was an effect on the kids. You
Yeah, it
too,
was. Well,
but the
yeah.
kids. So then the next holiday was because I don't know Thomas's birthday. I don't know when his birthday is. So if I get to his birthday, you let me know
Oh,
if I go past it because it's the first. Okay.
yeah.
So the next holiday will be the 4th of July.
Yeah. 4th of July.
What did y'all used to do?
We used to go hang out at his cousin's house. And
Okay.
they used to do fireworks, grill, play cards, talk, this, that, and the other.
They
I
still did this, but you didn't want to go?
mm-mm, mm-mm,
Mm-mm, what?
I didn't I didn't want to go. I
Okay.
made a appearance, but I didn't stay.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just didn't. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm
Did you do anything at the house?
I was a hermit. No,
Because his brother's with you, right?
yes,
His brother and your brother.
yes.
So did y'all do anything?
We cooked. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing else. I curled up in the bed and flipped channels and
Okay.
watched TV shows that we would watch. And that's so
So we
ironic.
had Memorial Day. I'll skip Memorial Day. Mother's Day, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day was a sad day.
So when was the funeral?
We had the funeral. That's why we pushed the funeral. He passed on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
We pushed his memorial service, homegoing service to after Memorial Day because
After.
this is
That's
graduation
a
time.
while.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
graduation time.
So this was a memorial service. This wasn't a funeral. This was a
No,
memorial
we
service.
had no. This was the
This
whole
was
thing.
yeah, that's right. Cause you did the casket and yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Okay, that's a long time. What's that?
Yes.
2 weeks?
And we did not. They kept his body for.
That's
Oh,
15 days. That's 2 weeks.
they kept his body for a long time. They didn't release his body until the 13th day.
Mm.
We had an autopsy done.
Okay,
Okay. And
so that was 28, and
mhm,
then the funeral was
after
after.
Memorial Day,
Okay.
because you got graduations going. Um, yeah, we had the Memorial Day holiday came along, and then everybody was graduating, and it was pulling family members because his brother and his grandkid, he had a grandson graduating from high school, going to college or whatever. It's going to be a pallbearer and all of this, that, and the other. So, and then Thomas was a Shriner. He was a part
Right.
of the Shriner order.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Shriners always do something big, and they could not commit to Memorial Day, but they did do a representation there at the service after Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. White did that. And all this Pruitt-Igoe family, they
Mm-hmm.
made an appearance after.
I wonder if he knows my stepfather.
He probably
They're about the
does.
same age.
61.
61, 62, something like that. Yeah.
Probably so.
Mm-hmm.
Probably so, because
Pure I go, yeah. I want
Cause
that
I
free
didn't
girl.
know. I have coworkers like Daffy. They call him, his name is Donald, but they call him Daffy. And then I got Scott Taylor. They all from Pruitt-Igoe, and
Mm-hmm.
Peabody's and all that. I'm like, plus Thomas was the police officer who,
Didn't we talk about the Thomases before and he made because of a funeral or some reliable funeral home? Didn't he say that he may have knew that? I don't
he
know.
know, yeah, because he did his some internships because he was a licensed embalmer as well. Didn't I tell you?
I thought we had talked about that, right?
We did. Thomas's
Mm-hmm.
brain always going.
Mm-hmm.
His grandfather owned the funeral home that was on Union, and he learned the trade. He started taking up the trade from his grandfather and got his license from Ronald Jones, and worked to get his license doing.
I'm gonna turn this light on.
Um, they do something called restore color for patients that are kept out so long to restore people's color and stuff.
Yeah.
And Thomas was a master at that. And when I say he was a master at that, he was able to bring their color back to normal so they wouldn't look ashy and they
Right,
would
right.
always look themselves or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he did. He probably did know Mr. Thomas. Not probably, he did know Mr. Thomas. Because
Well, maybe not even him, but the kids.
when I told him
You
that
talking
your
about Mr.
mother,
Thomas? You talking about my stepfather? You ain't talking about their daddy.
I'm talking about their daddy that owned that
Okay.
owned the funeral. Because when I told him that your mom was married to the grandson or
The son.
the son during the pandemic, and they was giving y'all all these bodysuits because I had seen that
Yeah,
suit before.
because I remember us talking about something. Yeah.
I remember when I seen that suit. I said, "Ain't that what you?" I said, "Ain't that what you wear when you in bomb?" He said, "Yeah, you got the cover up from head to toe." I said, "Well, they gave Stephanie son
I
trying to
got to
keep
go
her
to work.
trying to keep her safe or whatever." He said it's gonna keep out whatever, and he's
Hmm.
like, "Really?" So
And I
yeah,
still have some just in case I got to do it again.
yeah.
I sure
So
do. He gave me a couple of them, and I still have my papper.
really,
Hmm.
so he probably do know the grandson. He knows the one that's reliable, and he knows about the one that's on Union. Um, I forget
Cause
all of them.
Mr. Thomas, the dad,
Hmm.
he's deceased. He just passed.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Labor
remember
Day.
I didn't do anything Labor Day,
October is Halloween.
and his birthday is October 9th.
Okay, October 9th.
I spent the day
Did
at
you
his
work?
site. No,
You didn't go to work that day?
no.
Good. So what you do?
I spent the day with him. I went to breakfast,
Is
had a
that when you
picture with
put
him.
the H out there?
The the
Is it a B?
it's a B.
It's a B. Okay.
Yeah. I spent the day. I bought a throw, and I just went and sat out and spent. I ain't gonna think. I know I spent about an hour or two just sitting there talking and listening to blues. That was his favorite music. BB King, Bobby Blue Bland,
All the old stuff.
all the Muddy Water songs. He liked the Muddy Water songs. I used to tell him, "Why do you listen to them old sad Muddy Water songs?" And he'd be like, "They're not sad. They talk to me. They speak to me." I said, "Okay, I
They do.
guess."
They tell the truth.
I said,
Oh yeah,
"Okay."
cause I'm a Bobby Womack girl, and
Uh-huh.
my kids are too.
Oh, really?
Oh yes, yes. I raised him on Bobby Womack. You better listen. You
Hmm.
better listen. He trying to tell y'all something.
Yeah. They don't.
Yeah.
That
So anyway, so okay, so Thanksgiving.
well, Thanksgivings we were always over at Crystal's house. We was at Crystal's house. I w- I just
So
you
you
know
went.
yeah, I was at Crystal's house for that Thanksgiving, and I was at Crystal's house for that Christmas. Hey, Mr. Hickman. All right, but it wasn't the same.
So I mean, so the only difference was because he wasn't there.
He
You
wasn't
didn't
there.
do. Y'all didn't do anything. Y'all just
Didn't
showed
do
up for dinner.
just I just showed up. you know.
Did you
You know,
stay?
say no,
You
I
didn't. You
didn't.
just made an appearance.
It's holidays are not the holidays same as when my mom was alive, and that's how long it's been since we've had any holidays. And I'm talking well before my mom passed.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can remember our last Mother's Day brunch at my mom's house, and it was in, it had to be 2007 or 8 or whatever, where she was still able to get up and move and wasn't on the oxygen like she was and everything. And they just haven't been the same, since she had. It's kind of like a domino effect, things have changed as years have gone on. Like, I can remember as a kid, we would get up at the crack of dawn. We'd be pulling the lawn chairs out the basement, putting the table out, putting the umbrella
Getting
up,
ready.
getting the music together, this, that, and the other. And I did the same thing for my kids at my house when I was with Zach. When we did a cookout at the house and people was coming over, I would get up. I would go clean off the patio. I would, put the music out. I would set up everything. I would make sure he had all his ingredients for the dishes he was gonna make, and then we clean the meat and he seasoned the meat, and make sure the grill and stuff. I did that. They haven't been the same.
Hmm.
They haven't been the same.